Today I want to talk about the 6A's of event design. My name is Dr. Catherine Masitsa and I'm the director at the Samantha's Wedding Members Business Academy. This is where we teach everything as far as wedding design and wedding planning is concerned. And today I want to talk about something very interesting, something called event experience, but not just event experience, adding emotion to the event. Now, most of you have heard about experiential marketing. If you're in the marketing industry, you must know creating an experience. Everybody, every corporate is talking about creating an experience. And now there's a whole unit of marketing called experiential marketing. Now, this is big in the world because scientific studies have actually shown that experience and creating that emotional experience has a huge impact. And this is what events are about. Events are about creating an event, creating an experience, a once-in-a-lifetime experience that will never be forgotten. A lot of people in the marketing industry call it branding. For us in the wedding industry, we call it creating that emotional experience. Your wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime. So if you're a bride trying to plan your wedding or you're a wedding planner, should be very interesting to you. Now, when I talk about the A6, there are 6A's. So I'll say, when I say A6, I mean the 6A's of wedding design and adding the emotion in it. So the first one is anticipation. Now, in weddings, how is anticipation created? Perhaps you hear the marriage bands being read in the church, or you receive a save the date card, or you hear the neighbor's daughter is getting married. All these things create anticipation, and we all like a good wedding. So we are looking forward. The wedding is in December, but it's January. There's all these things going around. The women are running around. They are excited. There's all these things that will be happening. That is part of the experience. And, they say a wedding is not just for a day. You need to think about the invitation card. So when the invitation card comes, everybody is thinking about, wow, so how is this wedding going to be? I personally have gone to buy a new dress just because of the card. You know how expensive the card looked? And sometimes I have like 6 cards. Couples have invited me. I look and the card that pleases me most, I tend to go to that wedding. If, for example, a wedding is going to be overseas, then you're going to put some passports, and then people know they're going to be traveling, maybe in the save the date cards. That's part of creating the anticipation. And you let people know what this wedding is going to be all about. You don't want, there's nothing as bad as being badly dressed, as being inappropriately dressed. If you're not dressed appropriately. So you don't want somebody to come dressed in a very laid-back event. They've come dressed really formal. So if a wedding is formal, the card needs to show that. If it is informal, it also needs to show the same thing. So after anticipation, so you've been looking forward to this event, you're excited, and you have the card, and the day has come. Now it's time to go to the event. Now, as an event designer or as a bride, if you're designing your own wedding, you then want to ensure it is your job that your guests get to the location in the proper state of mind. You don't want them stuck in the traffic jam. Remember, when they leave the house, it is your job. So when they're going to get stuck in the traffic jam, by the time they arrive, they're upset, they're annoyed, and they just want to get over with this thing and go. No, you don't want that. You want them to arrive feeling as good as they look. So therefore, give them, alternative routes. Think about your location. When you're thinking your location, is it a place that is easy to access? It's very important. And on the dates, for example, if you're thinking like, for example, 20th of December, everybody knows. People are trying to shop for Christmas holiday. They're trying to travel. There's traffic jam everywhere. So you don't want to choose a venue where your guests cannot access easily. So think about that experience. Now, when they arrive, have you ever wondered why, like at a wedding ceremony, there's always an arc at the door? Have you ever gone to an event And based on the card that you receive, you're asking everybody, is so-and-so's wedding here? Are you sure this is the place? Are you sure this is, are we? And then you reach to the person next to you, is this so-and-so's wedding? Because the organizer or the designer didn't look after something we call the arrival, which is the second A. First, you want them to arrive in the proper state of mind. Secondly, they want to wow. It's exactly what the card talked about. So that wow effect, you want it to be there. So you want to show, this is why most designers, you'll see an arc at the entrance or something at the gate to indicate something is happening here. So it's part of the arrival. And to make it even better still, have some people like ushers greet the guests and welcome to so-and-so's wedding, welcome to so-and-so's wedding, so that they know they are in the correct place. So think about the arrival, very important. So those maps, when you receive a card with the maps, they're not for nothing. It's part of designing the experience. Now, the third A is atmosphere. So the guests arrive. Maybe it's at the reception. You want to think about, what is the atmosphere? What are they going to see with their eyes? What are they going to hear? What are they going to smell? Very, very important. And you have to think about all these things. So in terms of seeing, this is how the decor, you're thinking of the color. Are they going to feel the room is small? Or are they going to feel as if, hey, this looks too big? It's very important. You have to engage all the senses. What are they going to smell? These days, a lot of brides are working even with scented flowers, scented roses, or they're working with their own scent for their own wedding. So when people think about the wedding, they are reminded. They say scents have a very, very, they remind us of, I'm sure if you smell a perfume you used when you were younger, or during certain perfumes remind you of certain times. So it's important to actually think of that. You want to think about what kind of music or what sounds are they hearing? Are they annoying sounds? Are they sounds that they like? Is it the kind of music they like? And this is where you are thinking about your kind of audience. What do they like? So design that with them in mind. Then, of course, the other A is appetite, otherwise known as food. Most of us are foodies. And research has shown that, believe me or not, people go to events. A very important aspect of going to an event is food. So think about the food. And when you're thinking about food, there are two aspects. Actually, three aspects. The first aspect is that the food must look as good. When I look at it, the food must look good. And then it must taste as good. They say we eat with our eyes first. So it's the job of the event designer to think about how the food is going to be displayed. And then the chef will now think about all the flavors. And we are talking about the salt, the savory, the sweet, the bitter, all the tastes. You must engage all the tastes. And that is the job of the chef, to think about that. But also now the caterer you're working with needs to think about, how are we going to display the food? Are we going to serve this food on the tables? Is it going to be a sit-down service? Or are people going to go on the lines to pick the food? There's no right or wrong, but just think about the convenience. And this is where you're thinking about, are they going to be on long lines? So even if the food is nice, and I've been waiting on the line for the last 30 minutes, and I was walking in the rain to get to the food station, I will not be happy. So therefore, you need to think about the food stations. And the event designer, or if you're as an experienced or a trained event designer, you should know how many food stations, and even your caterer should guide you, how many food stations do you want to have? Therefore, for people to enjoy that food. And of course, the other aspect of event design as part of the A6 is activity, which is, we call it entertainment. People don't just want to come there and sit. They want to enjoy. They want to interact with each other. So think about the entertainment that you're giving to the guests and try to be imaginative. A lot of people, when they think about entertainment, they're usually just thinking about bands, maybe a live band only or a DJ. And sometimes you find a lot of couples or even a lot of planners leave entertainment just to the DJ. Much as a lot of DJs know what they are doing, but you have to design this experience. You have to think about what am I going to do that is unexpected, that guests will appreciate. So think about the A to Z of entertainment. There are many new things that you can introduce into the entertainment that can make it different. You need to think about that. And of course, finally, you want to think about appreciation. Now, don't take it for granted that people really set aside time to come to your event. In fact, these days, so many weddings and so many events that are happening in any one single Saturday. And it's not even December yet, or August or April, when this is the high season of weddings. So a lot of event planners will tell you, if you get 80%, in the past we used to worry about too many people coming to your wedding. Now in a high wedding season, if you get 80% of the people you invited, you're lucky. People are just, in some cases, not turning up for events. And therefore, when people set aside time, they love you, they appreciate you to come to your event. So you need to show some real, honest, emotional appreciation. And appreciation can be shown in many ways. Think about it. You've been to the wedding where you see the bride from a long distance. As a bride, you can just go around. If you don't have too many guests, you can give a vote of thanks. I mean, not many brides are doing that. There's always someone talking on behalf of the family. But I think it's a really nice touch if the bride can just say something, if you can, and just say thank you. You can give wedding favors that are meaningful, not the ones people are just going to throw away, that are devoid of meaning. There's so many, you go to some of these weddings and you just collect these things and you just trinkets and you just throw them away. So think through your guests. What would they like to receive? And sometimes it's not even about monetary, like I said. For the guests, I was to this wedding where the bride made sure she shook every guest's hand. Now, that was quite meaningful and it was such a sign of appreciation. But if you can give gifts like favors. But one of the new trends that have emerged is the charity gift registries, where as much as we expect when you have a wedding, you're receiving gifts, a lot of couples are actually foregoing their gifts and asking their guests to donate on their behalf to a certain charity. And in return, the couple is actually creating a gift certificate which you can give to the guests that we have donated to this in your honor for attending our event. And the guests really feel appreciated. So I hope next time you're thinking of, if you're planning your event or you're an event designer, you are going to think about incorporating the emotional element in your event design.